There's something strange about being paid to feel, not to fake it, but to really show up emotionally for someone who isn't yours to care about, and then to walk away when the contract ends. In Japan, you can rent a father, a husband, a mourner for your funeral. And the weirdest part, it's not a scam, it's a service. Welcome to FrameShift. If you're the kind of person who watches a movie and can't stop thinking about it 3 days later, you're in the right place. And if you want more of these deep dives, hit subscribe. I promise it's less commitment than renting a fake dad. Rental Family is Brendan Fraser's quietest performance, and maybe his best. It's a film that feels like warm sunlight on something that should be dark. Hikari shoots Tokyo in bright daylight instead of neon-soaked nights, which makes everything feel more exposed, more vulnerable. You keep waiting for the movie to punish its characters for lying, but it never quite does. Fraser plays Philip Vanderploeg, an American actor who came to Japan 7 years ago for a toothpaste commercial. He never left, not because he loves it here, because there's nothing pulling him back. He's fluent in Japanese now, but you get the sense he's even more fluent in loneliness. When he lands a job with a rental family company, he starts playing roles in other people's lives. A mourner at a fake funeral, a groom at a wedding designed to save face, and eventually a father to an 11-year-old girl who's never met her real dad. This is where the movie gets uncomfortable because Philip isn't pretending to care. He actually does, and that's the problem. The movie understands something most films don't. Emotional labour doesn't stop being real just because someone's paying you for it. A therapist gets paid to listen, a teacher gets paid to guide. Philip gets paid to show up as someone he's not, which means the affection he gives is both genuine and constructed at the same time. There's a moment early on where Philip watches families through his apartment window, like he's viewing a nature documentary. He's not bitter, he's just trying to understand what it looks like when people belong to each other, and that small, sad gesture tells you everything about why he's good at this job. He's spent so long on the outside that he's learned how to study connection without ever really having it. The film treats loneliness as a structural problem, not a personal failing. Japan has hundreds of these rental companies because the need is real. Mental health is stigmatized. Social scripts are rigid. When you can't admit you're struggling, you find workarounds. The bride who hires a fake groom so she can be with the woman she loves without devastating her parents. The elderly actor who just wants someone to remember his work before he forgets it himself. These aren't selfish requests, they're survival mechanisms. But the movie also doesn't let itself off the hook, especially with Mia. Her mother hires Philip to play her father, so she'll have a better shot at getting into a prestigious school. She doesn't tell Mia the truth, and you watch this unfold knowing it's a terrible idea, because even if it works, Mia's going to lose this man she's started to trust. She's going to think her father abandoned her twice. What's devastating is how much Philip tries to do it right anyway. He texts her, he hangs her drawings on his wall, he becomes the person she needed, which makes the lie so much worse. Because now it's not just a performance, it's a relationship. And when the contract ends, he won't just be walking away from a job, he'll be walking away from someone who believed in him. Fraser plays this with a kind of transparency that makes you ache. He's not hiding his sadness, he's just living inside it. His smile looks like it costs him something. His warmth feels like it's being offered from a reserve he's almost out of. And that makes every moment with Mia feel both beautiful and wrong. You want them to keep bonding because it's clearly helping her, but you also know it's setting her up for something she doesn't deserve. The subplot with Kikuo, the aging actor, works because it mirrors Philip's fear. Kikuo is being forgotten, and Philip is playing the journalist who will preserve his legacy, but really Philip is seeing his own future, another actor who gave his life to the craft and ended up with no one to remember him. The difference is that Kikuo had a career worth remembering. Philip hasn't even had that. He's been the tree in the background, the white guy in the toothpaste ad, the extra at the funeral, and now he's so good at being temporary that he's built a whole job around it. There's a scene where Philip lies down in an empty coffin after the fake funeral ends. It's played lightly, almost as a joke, but it's also the most honest thing he does in the movie, because that's what this work feels like. Practicing for your own disappearance, learning how to be mourned by people who don't actually know you. The movie never turns Shinji, Philip's boss, into a villain. He's not exploiting people, he genuinely believes he's helping, and in some cases he is, but there's a moment where his mask slips and you see the exhaustion underneath. He's selling emotional solutions to problems that shouldn't exist in the first place, and the weight of that is starting to crush him. Aiko, Philip's co-worker, carries a different kind of damage. She's hired to play mistresses, which means she's the one who has to apologise to betrayed wives on behalf of men who won't show up. She's absorbing other people's rage and heartbreak, and the film lets her express her disgust without turning it into a moral lesson. It's just another way the job breaks you, not because it's fake, but because it's too real in all the wrong ways. And what Rental Family understands is that intimacy doesn't need to be permanent to matter. Philip's relationship with Mia is built on a lie, but the care he shows her is real. The time Kikuo spends with his journalist brings him real comfort, even though the premise is false. And maybe that's the uncomfortable truth the movie wants us to sit with. That meaning isn't something we find, it's something we construct. And sometimes even a rented version of love can feel like the real thing. But the film also knows that's not enough, because when Philip finally has to face the consequences of the role he's been playing, there's no clean way out. He's helped people, yes, but he's also participated in systems that let them avoid the harder, more honest conversations they need to have, and the movie doesn't give him an easy redemption. It just lets him sit in the mess he's made. There's something almost Frank Capra-like in the way the film handles sentiment. It wants to believe in people. It wants to believe that showing up for someone, even temporarily, can matter, and maybe it can. But the movie also knows that belief doesn't erase the damage. It just makes you want to try anyway. Watching Rental Family feels like being held gently while someone tells you something sad. It's not trying to devastate you. It's just quietly pointing out how much we need each other and how bad we are at asking for what we need. Philip isn't a hero. He's just a guy who stayed too long in a place where he doesn't belong, doing work that makes him feel useful, even as it empties him out. And maybe that's what makes this movie linger. It's not about whether Philip made the right choices. It's about how we all perform versions of ourselves to be loved, to be needed, to matter. And sometimes the roles we play become so convincing that we forget we're still acting until the contract ends and we have to figure out who we are when no one's watching. If this one hit you the way it hit me, share it with someone who needs a good cry. And if you want more essays like this, subscribing actually helps more than you think. I'll see you in the next one.